Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. It's 7 o'clock Eastern on the first Wednesday of the month, and we are live from Miniature Printerland, and oh boy, is it a night tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be very interesting for a number of reasons, one of which is about every area around Toronto right now is under a tornado warning, except for where we are right now. And you know what? I got a picture to show you. You got to see this. I just snapped this off of the weather radar, so I'm going to hold it up to the phone. Let's see if I can show this to you right now. It is nuts out there. You would not believe it. For all of you weather radar people, here we go. So I'm on that little dot right now that says Toronto, and right around us are the most severe thunderstorms. So there are tornado warnings in Stratford, Orangeville, Barrie, all around us. So who knows what's going to happen? There is absolutely anything can happen tonight. So buckle up. It's going to be a heck of a ride. And we've got quite the show tonight. I call it a show because it's hopefully entertaining. But why don't we say we have a fun gathering tonight. And I see, speaking of gathering, I see a bunch of friends in the chat. So I want to say hello to a few people. I want to say hello to Steve Childers. I want to say hi to Wigwag Workshop. Sean McGee is here, and I think he was hiding in his basement. Are you hiding in your basement, Sean? Because you mentioned something about a tornado. Where are you located right now? Are you under the warning or the watch? Split Rock is here. I see some new names. I think Curly Express, Dwight, welcome. Not sure I've seen your name before. Jim Dustin is here. Roger Coleman is here. I see Artie from Australia. Welcome. Hello. Who else? Scott Thornton. Hey, Scott. You are going to really like our Meet the Modeler this week. Scott, he is a friend of yours, and I was actually just chatting with him backstage in the green room about you. He just got a proto throttle, so we can talk to him about that. Gerald Stewart is in the house. Hello. Who else is here? There's just people are streaming in. Oh, sorry, Dwight, you've been to every one of the lives. My apologies. The names scroll by so quickly. Well, as I say, it's going to be quite exciting tonight. And as you know, and as Dwight knows, because he's been to every one of the lives, and to those who are new, you probably don't know, we start every live off with a beer selection. I am happily located right across the street from a microbrewery. Let me just bring this full up here. I'm located right across the street from a microbrewery called Henderson's. And so I walk across the street. That's not true. That is absolutely not true, Steve. I'm gonna have to ban people. But yes, beer. Beer is important, Dwight. So as you know, we start everything off with a beer from the microbrewery Henderson's. And so I'll tell you what today's selections are. This is an old favorite. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because you're going to vote, and I'm going to drink one of these right now. So let's start off with this one. Barbarian Rare Ale. I think I've shown this one before. This is let's pull up the write-up here. It is an oak-aged 5.5%. It's vanilla, caramel, fruity, and oaky. Okay, so that's choice number one, the Barbarian Rare Ale. Choice number two is an Italian Pilsner called Figo. And this is a 5.5% alcohol. It's an Italian Pilsner, as I mentioned. And it's refreshing, floral, aromatic with a clean finish. So that sounds pretty good. Our third choice is a brand new one we've never seen before. I do like the label on this one. It's a lagered blonde called Smorgasbeer, which I think wins for the name. And it's described as a blonde ale with lemon peel and lemon verbena. It's a 4.8%. Sorry, you're not going to get me sloshed tonight. These are all relatively light, but that looks like a pretty cool label. And the final one is called a Rochdale Rose. And I think I will bring this home to my wife because this one is a 4% and it's described as tart, fruity, dry, and quenching. And right on the label here, it says hibiscus, rose hips, tart cherries, and wine must, whatever that is. If anyone knows what wine must is. But I know my wife, who's watching, likes the hibiscus and the cherry beers. Interestingly, this Rochdale was a notorious University of Toronto co-ed residence in the 60s that was notorious for, the hippie living. So you can see all the stuff on the logo there. Apparently a lot of antics happened at Rochdale. All right, so my wife has voted that we will be bringing the Rochdale home for Holly. So you have a choice of 3. So my wife gets first choice. So is it the Smorgasbeer? Is it the Barbarian's Rare Ale? Or is it the Figo Italian Pilsner? So let's see what people are voting. Okay, so Wigwag likes the brown ales. I love the brown ales. I have to agree. Wigwag, let's see. Figo for Sean. Tacos, LOL. Yeah, it's a great label, isn't it? There's all sorts of fun stuff. Actually, I'm getting hungry just looking at that. What else do we have here? Barbarian. Well, Barbarian actually is a steakhouse. So Barbarian is a famous steakhouse here in Toronto. So it's probably the chef owner of Barbarians. We got another vote for the blonde. Smorgasbeer. Barbarian. What's this one? Need to tell those Henderson folks we need their beer that Getty and I had that on last month, Matthew. Welcome. I had the Rush beer on. I think it was last month or the month before. It was in the cabinet. I just didn't pick it tonight, but they have it. Let's see what Artie has to say here. Artie, that's got that one. Artie votes blondes. Okay. I forget what the last one was, Dwight. All right, so what's this one? Are you speaking from experience at Rochdale? No, unfortunately, that predates me. I was probably like 1 or 2 years old when things were happening at Rochdale. Although I did go to a co-ed residence in the first year of university in 1985. So there's stories there too. But no, 60s was a little bit before my time. I think Figo might be winning. What's my wife saying? How about you don't drink? All right. Well, thanks, dear. On that note, I think I'll choose the Figo at 5.5%. And I think that I prefer Roger's comment to my wife's comment. So let's just enjoy a nice Italian Pilsner. And I think I will be drinking, no matter what people say. All right. Always go with the blonde. Excellent. And the Figo one. All of these beers are available across the street at Henderson's. If you come to visit me at Miniature Printerland, chances are we will do a couple things, one of which is rail fanning, and the other of which is to go across to the brewery. And I like this comment. Ooh, that's Suds and Scenery. That's actually, Sean, you might hear that again, because I got a little something to announce later on, and Suds and Scenery might actually be what I call this. So I think you just named something I'm thinking about, Sean. So that's good. I like that. Okay, I'm going to pop up the presentation and let's see if, there we go. We can go through a few slides here. It's a pretty exciting night tonight. There's quite a bit to talk about. And I've got to start off with this one. And you know what? This really, really deserves full screen because what a month it's been. It really, just figure out how I can get this. There we go. Okay. I had the time of my life in July. July was the first time I've gone cross-border in 3-4 years, and what a trip it was. And as you saw from the beginning slide of the National Lampoon Vacation, I did load everything into the car, and I took off down to Reading, Pennsylvania, for a fantastic event that some of you might have heard of called Tomstock. And I want to share a little bit about Tomstock with you all because it really was quite an event. I think there's so many highlights that I just cannot do it justice. And I put together a little 2-minute video that I will show you in a moment. But this picture really sums up the entire experience, which is me violating all the rules of riding safely in a bud car. And I'm hanging out the window. This photograph credit goes to Katie Zhang, who was tracking us beside on a road in her SUV. And actually, she wasn't driving, but someone else was driving. She was hanging out the window, taking pictures of us, and I was hanging out the window. And if you ever want to see pure kid-like joy, that is me having the time of my life, going full tilt boogie in a bud car. It was unbelievable, and it was unbelievable from the point of view of rail fanning. It was unbelievable from the point of view of meeting people who I have been, I'll call it friends with or acquaintances with online, but actually getting together and meeting them in person, just was magical. So without further ado, I'm going to queue up a little 2-minute video that gives you a little bit of a flavor of some of the antics that we were up to. And hopefully this will play and I will go full screen on it. So let's see if I can go full screen on it. And I will drop out and let's see if you see it. Perfect. And let's go to the next screen. Bear with me for a minute. It's always technically fun. All right. If you cannot hear it, or if you can hear it, please leave me a note in the chat because I never know whether this is going to work.
Queso Cowboy, Rochdale, Pennsylvania. I model in HO scale, and the smallest thing on my layout is a general railway system type any dwarf signal that I just installed last week on the engine terminal lead in our town yard in Lebanon on my cross-line layout.
Hi, I'm Peter from the United Kingdom, and I'm in Scotland, and the smallest thing on the house is a mini print adapter. It's really tiny, very, very little. Hi, I'm Santo from Vermont. My smallest piece is
So we had fun. Clearly, we had fun. We had a ridiculous amount of fun. There were about 50 of us. So Thursday was a, let me just go over here for a second. Go to the next slide. Sorry about that. Thursday was the Bud Ride. Friday, we did a bus tour. And the Bud Ride on Thursday was from Reading to Jim Thorpe. And then at Jim Thorpe, we hopped on another train to do a scenic Lee Gorge trip. Then Friday was a bus tour, which involved a number of things, including Strasbourg. And full disclosure, I had never actually been on a live steam train before, which was a lot of fun. And that was a highlight. And then that was Friday. Saturday was a Tom Stock barbecue. And the last scene in that little video was a drone shot that I did of about 50 of us forming the letters AML. And many friendships were cemented and made, and a lot of hilarity ensued. And some scams might have been done. And there are a number of things that we cannot talk about, and other things which we will talk about for years. So it was wonderful. The last clip there, so I had a couple people. So the first guy you saw was Tom Jacobs. He was the Tom and Tom Stock. He hosted this. So a huge thank you to Tom for inviting 50 crazy railroad people into his backyard for a barbecue on Saturday. And his layout is spectacular. You heard him mention it. The second person there was someone who I became good friends with, Peter Borges from the United Kingdom, who models N scale and has a tiny little mini prints dock, because he actually has a dock. And then the final person I had to include it was Nick Santo from Vermont. And it was really funny because every time I tried to ask him a question, they blew the horn on the Bud car. So that's why he laughed at the end, because he actually laughed because he was able to sort of sneak it in there. So sorry about the audio quality, but it was just too funny not to include. Okay, so other news. So that was a little taste of Tom Stock and my crazy vacation. I would like to announce a sale, and I would like to announce a sale to you first. So this is the first time people are hearing about it. It is not, let me see if I can do this. It's not on the website yet. It's not anywhere. You guys hear about it first. So for the next week, so from now until Sunday night, I'm offering 15% off all People mini prints. And that would be anything under the People tab with two exceptions. I am not discounting the Little Lionel or the Little Bruce, because if you'll remember from last month, those are cancer fundraisers for Lionel Strang's One More Year charity. And all the proceeds, 100% of all proceeds go directly to the Princess Margaret Hospital for cancer. And it's actually to the psychological cancer clinic, because cancer fries your brain. So I will not be discounting those, because I want to give full dollars to the charity. The other only other person that I am not discounting is Bernard Crashes His Drone. And I think there's only a couple of those left. That was a limited edition. But everything else is fair game. They are available in N scale, HO scale, S scale, and O scale. And all four scales are 15% off with the code PEOPLE15OFF. So have fun. Split Rock, I totally agree with you. Nick and Peter are two of my new friends. And there are so many other people that attended that are just fabulous people. You know what, Split Rock? I think trained people are great people. The more people I meet, and I will come back to this actually, because I want to organize a little group meeting, but we'll talk about that in a second. But the more people I meet in this crazy train world, the more I think we are great people. And there are some great friendships that I've made in this hobby. Okay, so let's see what is next on this crazy PowerPoint fun. Oh yes, tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, I hop in the car and I drive from Toronto to Buffalo, and I will be taking part in the 2022 NASG. I don't know whether you say NASG or NASG, Buffalo Can-Am S-Scale Conference. And I will be offering up a painting clinic on Friday, and a little bit of a teaser. Everyone who attends the convention will be receiving S-Scale mini prints. And I will have a little bit more to talk about next month, hopefully some video from that. But I have not been rail fanning in Buffalo ever before. So I'm really looking forward to my second trip south of the border. So if anyone is in the Buffalo, New York area or is attending the convention, I look forward to seeing you then. What's next? Oh, yes, some other exciting news. And this goes to the Suds and Scenery. I am very proud, and as some of you might have seen on Facebook, to announce a partnership with Little Canada. Now, if you've not heard about Little Canada is a fantastic attraction that just opened up here in Toronto. It's modeled after Miniature Wonderland in Hamburg, Germany. And it's the same type of concept where they've modeled all of Canada. And yes, believe it or not, all of Canada. So, you know, everything from the East Coast to the North, under construction, the prairies, Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara Falls, Quebec City, Ottawa. They've got all of these fantastic scenes, all in HO scale with trains, and it's really something to see. So they are doing summer camps for kids aged 9 to 13. And you can see on the little image there, the kids will be making a little sort of, I feel like 3-inch by 2-inch by 1-inch diorama. And they wanted some mini prints animals for their kids' workshops. And I really think this is something that I want to support because it's really encouraging the next generation of modelers and the next generation of miniaturists. And so there are going to be 80 children over the month of August taking these workshops where they can build this little sort of mini diorama with mini prints animals, which I think is fantastic. Anyway, as part of my collaboration with them, I got 20 complimentary anytime tickets to go see Little Canada. Now, I know a number of people in the Greater Toronto, Southern Ontario area has seen it, but a lot of people haven't. So what I'm putting together, and this is an advance notice, is I'm putting together a day out at Mini Prints, otherwise known as MiniCon. And the date that I'm looking at right now is probably, and I'm going to check right now and make sure I don't screw it up, Sunday, September, let's see, Sunday, September, what is it? The 25th. And what I'm thinking about, and this is very much a work in progress. So let me go, here we go. We'll go back to me for a minute. Can I get back to me for a minute? No, I can't. Oh, well. Okay, you can see me in the corner there. What I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about a Sunday in September. For those who want to, we meet here at Miniature Printerland at around 9:45. We watch the Canadian, which is the Via Rail passenger train, stream by the office. We come in for a tour. We then walk up, a 10, 15-minute walk up to the Union Pearson Go, hop on the Union Pearson Go, go down to the Toronto Railway Museum, check out the engines down there, head up to Little Canada. I've asked Dave McLean, who's one of the founders, if he can give us a behind-the-scenes tour, and he's agreed. So we're just working out the details on that. Then we end up back here, maybe grab a beer at Henderson's, something along those lines. So I'm working on this. If you are interested, if you are planning on being in Toronto, if you are near to Toronto, Suds and Scenery, otherwise known as MiniCon or a day out with mini prints, is something that I'm working on. So if that's of interest, there will be more information, and hopefully a number of people can make it. Okay, so what else? Oh, yes. Contest. Yeah, yes, Split Rock, absolutely. There will be beer, and we are in Canada. The two go together, and on that note, if you'll allow me a moment, I will wipe the beer off my computer, because computers and beer don't go together, and I will have a sip. Sean, it's going to be fun. More details coming. Okay, let me hide myself here, because this is all about the modelers. So as some of you might remember from last month, we ran a contest, and the contest was very simple. It's for the Mini Prints of the Month Club subscribers. They were all sent a 35-foot Mini Prints mobile home with the challenge: do something with it. Put it on your layout, make a diorama, whatever you want. And we had 4 entries. And what we said is that of the 4 entries, there would be a winner, and the winner would get $100 in Mini Prints gift cards, and it would be chosen by popular vote. So I promised I would unveil the winner tonight, and I will. And I want to go through all 4 entries, and I would like to award the $100 in Mini Prints gift cards to the person who received the most thumbs up likes on Facebook. However, a little bit of a plot spoiler, I am giving gift cards to everybody. So the first place winner gets $100 in Mini Prints gift cards, and the other 3 each get a $50 Mini Prints gift card, because I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of energy to enter. And honestly, the voting was super, super close, and everybody here is a winner. So I want to just go through very quickly, and I will show you the entries. So with 52 popular votes, Ron's Tire Shop was a clear favorite. And I just have to say how much I absolutely love this diorama, because to take a 35-foot mobile home trailer from the 1950s and turn it into a tire shop, I think is absolutely inspired. It's unexpected, and it's brilliant modeling. So congratulations, Ron. I will be sending you a $50 Mini Prints gift card, and I thank you so much for this absolutely brilliant entry. At 53 votes, a fellow Torontonian, Spencer Barkley, I think has to win for putting the most number of mini prints in a scene. Spencer is a very, very, very talented miniaturist who does fantastic work. Actually, Spencer worked at Little Canada and was one of their lead miniature makers, and is responsible for many of the things that we will see when we go visit there. And he has become a friend and a partner in crime. We are currently working on something that we will unveil for the September Halloween-themed Mini Prints of the Month Club, which I think will blow everyone's socks off. So congratulations to Spencer for this wonderful Urban Oasis entry. and cramming the most number of mini prints in a square foot that I think anyone has ever done. It really is amazing. If you would like to see more pictures of any of these 4 entries, please visit the Mini Prints Facebook page, and it's the entries with all 4 photos for each entry is dated July 10th. Steve, who is here tonight, I believe, congratulations. You have a $50 Mini Prints gift card. You received 54 thumbs ups at the last count. And people really love this idea of a backwoods bordello. You're also the only person, I believe, that lit their actual scene inside. I'm really curious what's happening inside that trailer. I'm not sure I want to see, but I kind of want to see. So if you're able to get any pictures through those windows, maybe send them along or post them online if they're decent, which I doubt they are. And finally, and I'd like to unveil the grand prize winner, Joe LaRoche with his Sunshine Trailer Park with 85 likes and thumbs up. And I have to say that there is no more appropriate winner tonight specifically because we are all under a tornado watch and warning. So I think that it is absolutely appropriate that the tornado in a trailer park, as cliche as that is our grand prize winner tonight for our $100 gift cards. And thank you for all 4 entries. They are absolutely very much appreciated. And I hope everyone had a lot of fun. And honestly, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, this is really just about having a little bit of fun, using the mini prints that you get in the Mini Prints of the Month Club, building something fun and unique, and expressing your creativity, which is all we can hope for. Okay, so I am about to introduce the Meet the Modeler. But before I do that, and this is the last slide before our mystery modeler comes on, so I'm giving him the heads up. He's downstairs in the basement right now, and I am so excited to bring him up in a moment and share his story with you, because he is, without a doubt, one of the absolutely most talented modelers I've ever come across. And I'll tell you the story about how we found each other in a moment. But before I do that, let me show you what is new in the last month. So last month, there have been a number of little mini prints that have come out, and I'm sure most of you have seen them. But if you haven't, I did a little scene with an elderly couple sitting on a park bench feeding the pigeons. Did a kayaker, which is something that I wanted for my own little module, which I'm still working away on. Thought it would be fun, given the summer theme, to put together a full 10-foot scale swimming pool, complete with a little kid and a floaty. And I poured in some actual Envirotex resin and tinted it. So I think it turned out really, nice. It was a kind of a fun little trial. And then the big real models, I guess, were the newspaper stands and the phone booths. And the phone booths, the AT&T American style sort of 70s, 80s, 90s phone booths come both in two different versions, one on a pedestal, one without. And once again, unbelievable the resolution that these printers can come up with, even to the point of tiny little sort of dots of the telephone, the perforated telephone symbol on the side of these things. Last but not least, when DJ was up here a couple months ago for the YouTube meet, I scanned him, and he makes a wonderful locomotive engineer, available in N scale, HO, S, and O scale. And he's an engineer for CSX. So if you're looking for a locomotive engineer waving outside the cab of one of your locomotives, should I post this comment? Would you like to provide a few details, Artie? Oh, I hear thunder. Oh, this is getting interesting. Okay. All right. So yes, I completely agree, Sean. Maybe we should, can we ban participants? All right. Well, you haven't done anything bad yet. So far, so good. So I am now going to move on to our featured modeler. And I would like to go and introduce, let me go back to my slideshow here. The one thing you can always count on from a Mini Prints Live monthly presentation is that technology will provide us with a little bit of fun. Okay, so this gentleman who you are about to meet, I'm very excited to introduce you to. This is Tom Johnson. And I met Tom Johnson, well, I guess I found out about Tom Johnson in 2008, but I didn't know that I found out about or learned about him because he reminded me that, or showed me that he was in the publication Great Model Railroads in 2008. And it's funny because I went back, and if you have your Comback Publishing, Model Railroad or Great Model Railroads 2008 edition, check it out, because I went and I found it after all these years, I guess, 12 years? No, 14 years. And I had actually 14 years ago put a little sticky note on this layout, I guess a previous layout. And I bookmarked it as being sort of one of those layouts, that when you're looking at layouts and you say, boy, this is kind of like what I want my layout to be. Well, that's the first time I sort of found out about him. But fast forward to about a month ago, and all of a sudden, these incredible photographs started appearing on Facebook. And, I had no idea who Tom Johnson was, but all of a sudden, these pictures started appearing on all these Facebook groups. And this gentleman who you're about to meet started to post these incredible photographs of things that he'd done with mini prints. Well, Tom's new layout is a freelance short line that services several abandoned Penn Central Conrail spurs and branch line trackage in Logansport, Indiana, and the area surrounding Cass County. He has been published in many, many publications. The current layout, where you see this photograph, is going to be featured in an upcoming issue of Model Railroad Craftsman. His old railroad, that's the one I was referring to back in the 2008 issue of Great Model Railroads, was called the, what was it called? It was called the, you know what? I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to bring him in right now. And you know what? He'll be able to tell you much better than I will. And I would like to introduce our Meet the Modeler, featured modeler, Tom. And let me bring him in to the stream. And let's go side by side. There you are. You are live. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you.
So having butchered all that, tell me, what was your old layout called?
Okay, my old layout was called the Logansport and Indiana Northern, and it was a part of a larger system that a friend of mine and I went together on called NRail. And the article in Great Model Railroads in 2008 was just the very beginnings of it.
Okay.
Since that article, that whole railroad was totally rebuilt. A lot of the photos in Great Model Railroads 2008 still utilized a lot of the ground foams and things like that for the scenery.
Sure.
And then I discovered Scenic Express, and I started getting into the static grasses and all the neat little bushes and the newer leaf-like foliage, versus the fine foam. And I rebuilt that whole layout. And I'm sure some of the people here probably have seen some of the later photos of it on Facebook and different places. But then my wife and I decided to move to Florida and be a little closer to our kids. And we sold our house, and there's about 30 acres of farmland there that we sold. And then her mom and dad had an old farm that a distant relative just showed up on our porch one day and just asked us, "Do you want to sell it?" and I mean, it needed a new roof and it was in bad shape. And we just said, well, sure. But before that, we kept turning everybody down because, we were thinking maybe keeping it in the family. Well, he is distant family. So he bought that, and then we sold the rest of the farmland over there. And I had to tear that layout down. So a good friend of mine, he's an engineer for CSX. His name is Tommy Foltz. He bought the whole railroad.
Oh,
and he
wow.
came down with his 2 sons and his wife, and they went through, and they completely tore it all off the walls. My backdrops were fastened to the wall, my paneling, and were glued to the walls. And he actually had to cut the paneling from behind and took everything down and piled it up on a trailer. He made 2 or 3 trips, but he just put the pieces on a trailer, took them home, and he's now inserting my old railroad into his much larger Class 1 railroad, and it's going to be quite a railroad. His railroad already is really cool, and it's huge.
So what is this railroad now that we're looking at? Because
this railroad,
I saw this photograph. You posted this photograph about a month ago.
Yes.
I'm like, who is this guy? And oh my goodness, like this is amazing.
This layout is my Cass County layout.
Okay.
So after I sold everything up there in Indiana and got my room remodeled and everything, and we sold the house, we came down here. We, in Florida, they don't have basements. So
right.
We just had this little spare bedroom. So now I've gone from a layout that was about 100 feet in length down to about 30, and it's 16 inches deep and about 60 inches high. So it's got a nice height to it. And it's just a switching railroad. It's actually just a small section of the north side of Logansport, Indiana.
Okay.
I can't model the whole town, obviously, because it would not fit in this room anyways. So I just picked out a little section where the South Bend branch and the Butler branch of the old Pennsylvania Railroad split apart. And I kind of freelanced that area. This is not following any kind of a prototype scene or anything. It's more or less freelance, but I am following sort of the area in the track that was once in that area, and I'm modeling it as if it were not abandoned. After Conrail took over in '76, the group of elevators went together and other groups and formed this railroad. And I've got a system map and everything on my journal on MRH. And I'm just modeling a small section of it, but my history basically says that there are a lot of other spurs in Logansport and branches off of that in Cass County that I'm not modeling. And so I use that as an excuse to have a few more locomotives because I have like 6 or 7 right now. So I wrote that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I rotate the engines in and off. If they're on my layout, they're here to serve this part of the spurs in Logansport. The other engines are serving other sections that are off the layout.
So I'm really interested in having had both a sort of a full-size basement layout with your previous, and now more of a sort of a modular sort of shelf layout, I'll call it, a smaller layout. Tell me a little bit about sort of the advantages and disadvantages of both, because the level of detail in these photographs is unbelievable.
Well, thank you. And the reason for downsizing, now I will say that my layout in Indiana was 100 feet long, but I mean, there were several sections of that layout that were only 8 inches deep.
Okay.
8 to 10 to 12 inches. And I used my art background, being an artist and a retired art teacher, to do a lot of blending of my scenery into the backdrop. So there was just a seamless transition that you got the feeling that even though there was 8 inches there, you could see for a few miles.
Right.
But down here, I had to really shorten that up. And I will say that I am enjoying this layout much more because I'm 70 years old right now, and I mean, I still have a steady hand. My hand's not shaking, and I can still do a lot of detail work. For how long, who knows? But I wanted something that I could easily maintain, something I could keep clean. I could go through and run my Mr. Clean Magic Eraser over my track in about 5 minutes total for the whole layout. I could go through with a soft brush and brush off the dust off of things. I could run a vacuum over if I want, because everything's glued down. Everything you see in the picture there, everything is the tractors, everything is glued down. So when I go through and dust them off, I'm not knocking them around or moving them. And that way, all 4 wheels are all guaranteed to be touching the ground, because I find the best spot and I mark it. And then I glue it down so everything is flat on the ground. And the wiring underneath is just really simple. It's just a lot easier to maintain and keep clean. This is what I use. I use these Mr. Clean Bright Boy erasers.
Oh yeah.
And I cut them down into little squares. Right here, you can see the little square. I put a little piece of foam double stick tape and attach it to a long screwdriver. And let me back this up. You can see the screwdriver.
Yeah.
I just take this and just run it over my track. And you can see if I get real close to the camera, there's a couple little dark streaks there. But you'd be surprised how well this shines your rails and cleans them. So after I do my initial scenery and weathering my track, I clean everything with a Bright Boy and scrub it really good. And then afterwards, I never have to touch it again with anything but that Mr. Clean eraser. And it just gets rid of that little tiny layer of dust that might collect on the rail tops, over a couple of days. And my engines run flawlessly. I don't have any problems with any headlight flicker or anything. I use the new Pico switches with the solid point rails, and that really makes a huge difference on operating through switches. I don't need keep alives. I don't need juicers or anything. Because you eliminated the hinge in those point rails. Sure. Where the electrical flow sometimes doesn't go all the way through to the frog.
So I want to ask you about your scenery.
Yes.
Because I was blown away when I saw these photographs. I mean, I love the full disclosure. I mean, mini prints is a bit of a passion project for me. And what makes everything worthwhile is when someone shares a photograph with me. And when I saw your photographs and what you've done, with some of the mini prints, the auger and the tractors and the Lionels and the lawn chairs and all of these things, I was blown away. And it's so gratifying just to see this. What do you think? And your scenery is exceptional. It really is. What do you think is the secret to good scenery, to making a scene come alive?
Well, for me, first of all, it's using the right kind of materials. I had to do a lot of research, a lot of searching online to find the right colors of static grass. And I use the static grass mats. I don't use the static grass gun. The mats go down real fast, and I could cover the whole layout in a very short period of time. So I try to find the right colors, the right textures. I use a lot of the leaf flake. I texture my grass quite a bit with some of the Woodland Scenics fine turf. They call it fine turf, and the mixed blend green and different things to add texture. Because sometimes you have to keep that texture fine. You don't want it too rough and too big in some situations. But just getting the colors right. I'm very careful about staying away from the really bright, gaudy shades of green. I try to stay with the more olive shades of green, or they're not, or the yellowish greens. I think choosing colors that blend well with your backdrop really help.
Okay.
I'm a fan of keeping the backdrop as vivid and as bright as your modeled scenery. I know some guys will say, well, you have atmospheric perspective, and the backdrop, the things farther away are lighter and grayer. Yes, as an artist, I know that.
Right.
But there are some situations where that's fine, like in an oil painting, but on a model railroad, when you see modeled scenery and all of a sudden it just drops off to more of that faded stuff in the background, I just think everything looks better. As you can see in the photo here, the trees blending in with that backdrop.
Yeah.
You don't have that huge step off. Now, if I was modeling a scene where you have a huge open cornfield or something, and you're seeing something that are miles away, well, yeah, you'll have a little bit of that fading, and that's okay to show that. Most of my backdrops are fairly close. They're not far away scenes, so I try to keep them fairly close so the trees and everything blend in better.
So Dwight is asking what scale you model in.
This is HO scale.
Okay.
HO, yes.
Very good.
And as you can see in the photo here, I try to choose colors that, and I'm speaking from an artist right now, I try to use colors that keep the eye flowing through the scene. So in this photo, you will see some grays in there, but you will see reds starting from the right side all the way over to the left. You will see some greens in there. You'll see some blues, but nothing really just fires out at you. So I'm real careful with that. Probably the brightest things that are in there right now are those farmall tractors, but believe it or not, when you look at them in person, they are weathered more than they look in this photo. This is something that I've seen quite a bit. People ask me, where do you get your ideas? Well, I've gone on a lot of photo safaris with my model railroad friends up there. Jim Six is a really close friend of mine, and we've done a lot of things together. And we observe these things. And if we had a tractor place like this nearby that had all of this, I mean, every kind of tractor you think of was sitting out there, old farm implements, old combines, things even from back in the 50s that people brought in that needed welding repair. They were still using them. My wife's dad used an open combine right up into the early 70s. Really? So that Massey Ferguson that's behind where I'm standing fits in okay for 1978 for an old antique combine that somebody might want, worked on and keep it in the family.
Absolutely. I like this question.
Yeah.
Was it hard to find an HO scale tractor?
Well, you know what? I used to complain about that, and then all of a sudden it just seemed like boom. People are always asking me, where do you find your tractors? Where are you getting these things? And it's real simple, because what I did, I just went on Google. I went on Google Images, and I just put on the search at the top, HO farm tractors. And then
is that how you found mini prints?
Yes. And I found all kinds of farm tractors there from the red Farmall there, that comes from Walther Scene Master, which used to be Lifelike. The green Oliver obviously is yours.
Yes.
The two blue Fords are Artitech.
I gotta call out Scott Thornton's comment right here. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. Yes.
Your check is in the mail.
I agree with Scott Thornton. Those Oliver 66. Well, actually, it's a Super 77 if you look at it from one side, and it's an Oliver 77 if you look at it from the other side, because the other side, the engine compartment is open. In case, you can see it down there right beside my lower arm there. That one is open. But if you look at the one that's in front of the building, you're looking at it from the other side and it's closed. And I also found that if you could get by with these being row crop 66 tractors too. They're very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just Google things on Google Images. I'll Google tractors. I'll Google combines. I'll Google manure spreaders. You name it, and that's how I found Artitech for some of their stuff to mix in with what you're making, and the Seamaster from Walthers. Those Walther Seamaster farm walls are really nice if you just take a little more time and add some detail. You know, if you look closely, I've got the headlights on there. I've got fenders. I put a little tin can on top of the muffler because a lot of them didn't have those little flappy things on top to keep the moisture out. Added the decals, and then did a lot of weathering in the engine compartment and around it to bring out highlight the details. This is the same thing I did with the Oliver. The two Architects, I didn't have to touch those. Those came exactly the way they are. I just took them out of the box, put them on the layout.
We have a question from Sean. Do you use any forced perspective on your layout to show depth? Yes, just a little bit. Okay. I've got a scene right up here to my left. I have a building that represents the feed store. I have a large co-op elevator, and then I have a feed store, and on the backside against the backdrop, I have the scale. Okay. Well, I didn't have a lot of room to work with, so I had to really narrow that road and narrow that scale. So if you looked at it from a drone, you would say, there ain't no way a truck is going to fit on there. And it won't. There's not enough room. It's too narrow. But when you look at it from standing out here, you can't see that. And I've noticed that I can't remember who else I was talking to that kind of did the same thing. So anything near the backdrop, you could actually make it a little more narrow and get away with forced perspective. If in terms of structures, no, I didn't do that. I like to stay away from flats. I don't have anything against them, so I'm not criticizing anybody that uses them. I just try to stay away from them. If I do anything against the backdrop, it's going to be something that's going to stick out from the backdrop 2 or 3 inches. So it's not a flat, but it's kind of like one. Okay. But fortunately, I didn't have to do that anywhere on my layout. I was able to use full buildings, and a lot of the backsides of my buildings aren't really finished. I'll paint them a basic color, and since they're never seen, I don't waste my time. I just do the sides and the front. Yep. I'm going to ask if there are any other questions for our Meet the Modeler. Before we say thank you and good night. And while people are coming up with their questions, I have a question.
Okay.
If we would like to see more of your work, either in publications or on Facebook or any other YouTube, how do we connect with you? How do we see your brilliant work?
Right now, I just recently started a journal. They used to call them blogs, a journal, and MRH magazine, online magazine. That's Joe Gates magazine.
Yep.
And Jim Six has a nice monthly limited modeler feature in there, and he was just constantly talking me into starting this thing, and I kept putting it off because I was spending a little more time with the Facebook stuff.
Sure.
And I finally gave in. I finally started it. If you want to see a lot more pictures of my layout, it's real simple. It's called Tom Johnson's Cass County Railroad.
TomJohn
SON. Apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Cass County.
CASS. County. Okay.
County Railroad. I think I just did RR.
So I'm putting that in the chat. Tom Johnson's Cass County RR. So Google that. Check out Model Railroad Hobbyist in the blogs, And if we sort of Google your name on Facebook, I'm sure groups will sort of show up. What groups do you like to post in Facebook?
Well, I mostly, since I've gone small with my layout and I'm doing more shelf type things now, I'm kind of associating a little bit more with the shelf layout groups. So
Okay.
I post quite a bit on micro slash or backslash small model railroad layout.
/SMALL. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Model railroad layouts.
Okay.
And I'm actually one of the administrators on that one.
Okay.
That one that would blow some people's minds because there are some really, really tiny layouts. I mean, it just proves that you could build a layout anywhere you want if you put your mind to it.
Have you seen the UK company Suitcase Trains?
No, I have not.
There is a woman in the United Kingdom that builds model railroad layouts in suitcases, and it's brilliant.
Oh my goodness! No,
oh, it's wonderful. Check it out. Yeah.
Check that
it's
out.
A lot of
yes.
fun.
Yes.
Okay, so micro, small model railroad layout. Okay.
Okay. Good. Another one is HO scale shelf layouts.
Yep, I'm a member of that. That's a great group.
The first and original Facebook group.
Okay, good.
Then there's model railroad shelf layouts.
Yep.
And then those are the main three: micro, small, HO scale shelf layouts, model railroad shelf layouts. And there's another one, but I don't post there as much. I kind of watch what I do because I find it that some nights all I get done is sit in front of the computer answering questions, because one thing I take pride in is I try to answer everybody's question, and I try to answer it in detail and explain how I do everything. I don't keep any secrets, and I try to, be as helpful as I can, and I share everything I know. I don't keep anything secret. And a lot of what I do, I learn from others. Okay. I am not an expert. When I make comments about, my philosophies about things like, track parallel to the edge of the bench work, or do you use road bed or not use road bed? Those are just my personal likes. When I say that I like it that way because this is what I see, that doesn't mean that somebody else that uses road bed or does whatever is wrong. Everybody is right in this hobby, in my opinion. We're all in it together. We all have our own likes. We all have our own modeling styles. We all have our own signatures. So I don't ever want to come off that way. If anybody ever thinks that I do, I'd never intend to do that. So I've learned a lot from others, and when I learn from others, a lot of times what I do is I take their ideas and I tweak them a little bit and make them my own, because what they do in their layouts may not work on mine. But if I take their plan or their idea and change it a little bit, then I could, make it fit what I'm doing. And that's what I try to do.
I have two final questions for you. Dwight would like to know if you have a YouTube channel or if your stuff is on YouTube.
No, it's not. And I've had a lot of people really ask me about that. I tried one time and I wasn't successful. Now I've got a son-in-law that's really good at this stuff, and I need to get him over here and help me. But I did some videos a long time ago, and I suppose you might find them on YouTube if somebody searched it. I can't remember what it would be under, but the quality was really poor, and I was not happy. And I don't know what I did right or what I did wrong. So I need to look at that again. Yes, I agree. I think I need to look at that again.
I'm seeing more and more amazing layouts on YouTube. So since we're on YouTube tonight, I'm gonna thumbs up the YouTube idea.
Yeah.
And so the final question comes from Sparky 107, a fellow Canadian located not so far from here, and a friend of mine. He wants to know, and this is the perfect question to end the Meet the Modeler segment: what's the next big project for Tom? What are you working on?
Okay, let me get the shell out here. I'm working.
Okay, show and tell. This is great. When your Meet the Modeler has to go get something, you're in for a treat.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
I am working on a GP35M.
Okay.
A modified GP35 with the turbo removed and a couple of just regular exhausts on top. I used an Athearn GP38 hatch that replaced the Kato hatch, and I just added basic details. I don't go crazy with details anymore like I used to. I'm older now, and I've kind of settled in on that good enough approach, and I just put enough detail on it to make it believable. And I've got all the air hoses and everything on the front, and the different horn, so it's just the basic things, the spark arresters. So that's the one thing I'm working on. And the one other thing I'm working on, believe it or not, I've always had this passion for fire departments. I lived by a fire station for most of my life. And when I was little, I used to run up there every time I hear the fire whistle blow, watch the fire trucks leave, and on and on and on. Was friends with several of the drivers and all. I want to build a fire station and find someplace to put on my layout. And I've got these really neat Athearn Mac B fire trucks that I want to use that would fit the late 70s. And I was looking at one. It's on from a company called Bollinger Edgerly Scale Trains, BEST.
Okay.
It's a wood fire station from up in the Northeast, and it's got kind of a hip roof, a barn roof on it, but it just looks typical of a small township fire station that you might find on the outside of edge of town somewhere. It's a volunteer fire station, nothing fancy. So I might build that and see what it looks like, and then decide if I want to put it on the layout or not. So other than the GP35 or I just tweak the details.
Nice.
Somebody says, "Do you ever run out of details?" Well, I'm getting there. But
you know who to call for your fire station details.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Let me know what you need.
Okay, we'll do that. And I hope you get on that here pretty soon and just change details. If I find something out there, you come out with something in the future that I like better than what's on my layout now, I'll take the bits off and I'll put it in your detail on there. So
Scott says mini prints to the rescue. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yes.
Tom, it has been an absolute pleasure. I hope that there are currently, I think, 37 people watching. So I hope everybody will Google you, will check your stuff out on Facebook. Your layout is absolutely inspiring. I look forward to seeing you in Model Railroad Craftsman.
Yes.
And all the other publications. Keep in touch. Definitely keep posting, mini print stuff online and tagging us. And, I'd love to see, your next scene.
Okay.
And thank you for being our second modeler, Meet the Modeler. Scott was on last month, and I told Scott that you're playing with his proto throttle. So that's a whole nother topic that
thing is
we'll
awesome
have to get into. Yeah.
I mean, everybody that's listening right now, I've got to plug the thing. And you know what? And I'm being serious now. I'm not saying this because I know Scott is online here listening. He knows I put this off for a long time. He's been trying to talk me into it, and he's been, trying to convince me of certain things about it. I've had a couple of other friends say, you need to do this. That would be the perfect thing for your little layout. And I kept, I'm one of these guys that I'm not really good in technology a lot of times. And my wife has to build me out of things quite a bit. And I was quite happy with my NCE, hammerhead throttle, and I was okay, and it worked. Yep. But I finally made the dive. And Tom Klomoski really did a lot in convincing me, and he helped me get the throttle set up. So I got a shout out there for Tom Klomoski that helped me on that. And this proto throttle is the most awesome thing I've ever used. I would tell everybody on here, you got to get one. Don't
right.
worry about the price. Geez, oh, Pete, we only live once. I mean, just have fun.
All right. I hope my wife is still watching. Dear, honey, are you still in the chat? I gotta have to get some feedback from the chief financial officer here.
Yeah.
But, I've been looking at one. I have to admit.
Yeah. I looked a long time, so I know.
All right. Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your layout with us. I look forward to seeing what happens next. And I'm going to say a lovely good night and thanks for everything.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And everybody out there, be safe. Enjoy life. We're trying to get back into the normal routine down here after all of this COVID stuff that we've had to deal with for a couple of years. So
thank goodness for model railroading.
Yes. Yep.
All righty. Thanks again. Have a great night.
Bye.
All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was awesome. It's so inspiring. I said it before and I'll say it again. It is absolutely so inspiring when people share pictures online of what they do with their mini prints. So if you are a mini prints customer and you have painted a mini print and you put it on your layout, please send it to me, bernard@miniprints.com, or post it online, tag @miniprints3D on Instagram or Facebook. I love seeing what people do. And I completely agree. It was a great scene. It makes sense now that he's an art teacher, a retired art teacher, because the talent that he brought to the layout is rare and it's inspiring. All right. This is longer than I usually go. So every moment of this has been fantastic, but I'm going to bring it to the close. So if you will excuse me for a minute, I'm going to go back to the presentation and see if there's anything else. Oh, yes, we're at the end. So I really want to, Dale, I had beer. Yeah, the beer was at the beginning. We chose the Figo, the Italian Pilsner. So you'll have to go back and watch the rebroadcast. But we've been going since 7 Eastern. So the Pilsner is almost gone. Where did it? Yeah. So we've covered the beer. So good point. Let's summarize for Dale. We've covered the beer. Check. We've awarded the winners, all 4 of the Mini Prints of the Month Club mini build contest. We've announced a discount on people figures at miniprints.com. People 15 off for 15% off your mini print figures from now until the people figures from now until Sunday. We've met an incredible modeler with great thanks to Tom for coming on and sharing his work. And I think there's nothing else to really do right now other than to say thank you to everybody. As always, please feel free to check out the Mini Prints Facebook page or the Instagram page, Mini Prints 3D, as you can see on the screen, where I will post what's new and exciting. I've also hinted at that there will be most probably the last Sunday in September will be a Mini Prints gathering here at Miniature Printerland in Toronto for those who are local to the area or who would like to travel up to the area. You are absolutely always welcome to come to Miniature Printerland, aka Mini Prints World HQ, for a beer and a tour and some rail fanning. And if there are no other comments, questions, or anything else, I will bid you all a safe and fond adieu, a wonderful good night, and hopefully a storm-free evening. It's pretty dark out there, but I think I'll make it home safely. Thank you, everyone. Good night, all. And it was a lot of fun. I really, really appreciate everybody who joins. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening with me. I should conclude by saying that the next one, we're always the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if I look at the calendar, and I'm doing it right now, September 7th, which is, believe it or not, the anniversary of my very first date with my wife back in 1996. So is that our 26 years? Anyway, so maybe I'll get my wife on. Maybe we'll do a joint broadcast on September 7th. So thank you, everyone. As Artie says, stay safe everywhere. And my wife is waving. So actually, before we go, 97. Yeah, we were. So are you going to come on, hon? Are you going to come on the September 7th Wednesday broadcast? Maybe we can have an anniversary broadcast together. Let's see what she says on that. Anyway, to be determined, everyone. See you September 7th, first Wednesday of the month. And thanks for joining. Oh, we have the official, I'll think about it. Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Really, of course, Sparky. And you know, if she doesn't come on, I'll put you on. How about that? Okay, so, or both. So it'll be Holly and or Sparky or both. All right, everyone. See you in a month. Have a great August. Good night, all.